Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Black Princess show canceled as Disney adds Christian character to another series. Disney is definitely making some changes. It's hard to believe they wouldn't be focused on making a TV series about a black princess. They've been working on it since 2020, but the people they hired on this animation team and the creative executive who was leading it were so diverse. I don't know exactly what you want to call it. People that were hired to do ideological work that lacked skills enough that they couldn't complete the project in a minimally acceptable way. And beyond that, the project could not even be saved. At least they hacked together the marbles and figured out how to release it. Yes, it was a bomb. Same goes for Captain America: Brave New World. Also a bomb and also hacked together. From The Hollywood Reporter, Tiana, Disney Plus series shelved as Walt Disney Animation abandons long-form streaming content. And sure, they're not producing a lot of ongoing TV shows for their streaming services. But the explanation does not really fit. And then I saw this article that just came out from That Park Place, a great website. Exclusive: Tiana series cancellation, allegedly attempt to push out unfavorable Jennifer Lee hires from animation team. Project team unreleasable despite years of production. When the project's unreleasable, you do have to let the people go. And they've been working on this since 2020. And movies in particular can get tied up for a very long time in development, but it should not be multiple years that they can't put together an animated show. I mean, this is Disney after all. They do make animated shows. They've been doing this for quite some time. And it's also true this was earlier in the life of their streaming services where they were trying to put as much content as possible on their streaming service to attract and keep potential subscribers. And it's taken so many years to try to get this thing done, to put it in a format that might be a reasonable product, that they've actually moved on and changed their streaming strategy as well. And that's not all. From Newsweek, Disney introduces Christian character after ditching transgender story. And this is for a Pixar series that is actually on their streaming service. It's going to take years and years and years for Disney to straighten themselves out. They went in the wrong direction for so many years. They have so many people and so many projects mucking up their system that even just to do basic and reasonable things, they've got a long road ahead of them. From thatparkplace.com, Tiana series cancellation, allegedly an attempt to push out unfavorable Jennifer Lee hires. These are animators that don't know what they're doing, that no doubt were hired for all the wrong reasons. While Disney has officially positioned the cancellation of its Tiana animated series on Disney Plus as part of a shift towards short-form animation, insider sources tell That Park Place there's much more going on behind the scenes. According to sources familiar with Disney animation, the project's demise is part of a broader effort to remove former Disney Animation Chief Creative Officer Jennifer Lee's hires from the studio, following her demotion back in September. As always, this should be treated as a rumor, but if it's true, it sheds light on just how dysfunctional Disney's animation pipeline has become. The Tiana animated series, originally announced in 2020, had been in production for years, but was reportedly so unsalvageable that Disney ultimately scrapped it despite multiple leadership changes and an intended release alongside Tiana's Bayou adventure. Now, insiders claim this move isn't just about shifting focus, it's about cleaning house. Sources close to the situation reveal that Tiana was not only plagued by creative issues, but also by an initial agenda-driven pitch that may have set it up for failure. Allegedly, Joyce Sherry, the original director attached to the project, initially pitched a live-action Princess and the Frog film to Jennifer Lee during the so-called Summer of Love in 2020, pushing for a major theatrical release featuring Disney's first black princess. However, insiders claim that Lee and other Disney executives instead chose a race-swapped The Little Mermaid remake, believing it would generate more cultural and political momentum. Well, people did at least notice it, even though it didn't do well. That film would go on to bomb at the box office. Sherry, who was not seen as experienced enough to helm a feature full-length movie, was instead handed the Tiana animated series as a consolation. In a situation like that, where somebody has a great idea and you want to reward them, you can make them a producer. You can make them an executive producer. You can make them a consultant. You could make them a writer, but not the head writer. There's a lot of ways of taking care of people. This was not the right way to do it. However, the project quickly spiraled into trouble. Initial episodes reportedly failed to meet expectations, missing their intended release window, which would have coincided with Disney's theme park overhaul of Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou adventure. A second director was brought in to fix the series, but even that failed to salvage the project. By the time Disney considered a third attempt, executives instead decided to cut their losses and repurpose what little material they could into animated shorts, while spinning the decision as a strategic move towards short-form storytelling similar to the success of Bluey. This narrative around short-form content matches up with the information released by The Hollywood Reporter. Perhaps even more significant than the Tiana series cancellation is what it represents: a deeper effort to purge Disney animation of hires tied to Jennifer Lee's tenure. By moving away from long-form animated Disney Plus content, Disney will have to make workforce reductions within the animation department, with layoffs in the Vancouver studio that developed Moana 2 already confirmed. And they did the same sort of thing at Pixar. They got rid of all of their troublemakers who were damaging the Pixar studio, with massive layoffs at Pixar. Lee, who was at the helm of Disney Animation for several years, made sweeping changes to the studio, emphasizing identity-focused hiring initiatives and restructuring the animation pipeline to prioritize diverse creative voices. Many of the figures she brought into the studio, including Joy Sherry, are now being pushed out as Disney attempts to course-correct its struggling animation division. Lee's leadership had already come under scrutiny, with reports suggesting she sidelined long-standing talent in favor of politically motivated hiring practices. Under her direction, productions like Raya and the Last Dragon were restructured mid-development to align with external ideological goals, with major overhauls to creative teams to reflect new diversity mandates rather than organic storytelling evolution. It's one thing to start out a project with ideological goals and then just execute badly on a terrible idea. It's another thing to take a project that's in progress and say, oh no, you know what? We have an opportunity here. Let's change things up while they're working on it. And that's what they're saying happened here. That's terrible. Industry insiders have pointed to this shift as a major factor in Disney Animation's decline, with several films and series underperforming or failing to resonate with audiences. Most notably, the animated feature Wish, which was supposed to be Disney's big celebration of 100 years of Disney magic, but that bombed majorly at the box office under Lee's direct watch. Now, with Lee stepping down as Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Animation Studios in September 2024 to focus on Frozen 3 and Frozen 4, officially speaking, her replacements appear to be taking steps to undo many of her staffing decisions. The cancellation of Tiana, a project directly tied to her hires, may be part of a broader effort to rebuild Disney Animation with new leadership and priorities. It sounds like they want to focus on Disney doing the right kind of projects again. Serious and well-done projects. But even wanting to do that when you don't have bad momentum like they do is difficult. It doesn't just happen because you want to do it. It takes focus, time, attention, leadership, talent, skill at multiple levels, interacting with multiple people, doing serious quality control. And ultimately, sure, it's possible to do it. They've done it before. It's just going to take a whole new focus that they haven't put on their material in years. While Disney has spun the Tiana cancellation as a shift towards short-form content, the reality behind the scenes suggests a much more dramatic restructuring. The studio is now emphasizing major theatrical releases over Disney Plus exclusives, with Zootopia 2 slated for November 2026, Frozen 3 in 2027, and another major unannounced feature. This move mirrors Disney's larger shift away from the failing Disney Plus model, which has seen diminishing returns on expensive projects. But perhaps the most telling sign of change is the silent removal of projects and personnel tied to Jennifer Lee's tenure. If Tiana, a princess cartoon designed for young children, was deemed completely unreleasable after 5 years of development, it raises serious questions about the quality of work coming from the animation team under her leadership. As Disney continues to reshape its animation division, the question remains, how many other projects from the Jennifer Lee era will quietly disappear? And from Newsweek, Disney introduces Christian character after ditching transgender story. Disney is introducing an openly Christian character into its Pixar animated show Win or Lose shortly after a transgender storyline was pulled. The move comes amid a wider cultural shift towards conservatism in tandem with the beginning of President Donald Trump's second term in office. Disney has made moves to placate Trump, who previously branded the organization as woke. In December, Disney's ABC News agreed to a $15 million settlement over a defamation lawsuit, marking a win for the president. He also got another $1 million to cover his legal fees. The Win or Lose series is Pixar's first ever original long-form animated series. It follows The Pickles, a co-ed middle school softball team throughout the week as they prepare for their upcoming championship game. Each episode focuses on a different character and their life on and off the field, including the insecure kids, their helicopter parents, and even a lovesick umpire. It premiered on Disney Plus on February 19, 2025. In the debut episode, the character of Lori is introduced and is openly Christian. This character begins her scene with the words Heavenly Father, and there's an angel cut out in her bedroom. In December, Deadline reported that Disney had cut a few lines of dialogue from an episode that referenced the character's gender identity. A spokesperson for Disney confirmed that the story arc was removed and provided the following statement to Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter. Quote, "When it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. This is the first openly Christian character to feature in a Disney film since 2007. That film features young adolescent children, Jessica Aarons and Leslie Burke, who in one scene attend church together and discuss religion on the way home. Trump and his allies have often been critical of Disney and what they describe as its woke policies. In May 2023, in a social media post, Trump branded the entertainment juggernaut a woke and disgusting shadow of its former self, criticizing its move towards diverse casting in some of its recent movie remakes. Following raging culture wars over such issues as LGBT rights and diversity, equity, and inclusion, Disney appears to be tempering its approach towards inclusion. An exclusive poll for Newsweek conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies in July found that 34% of viewers disapproved of Disney's attempt to add more LGBT topics to its content. Here's what some people are saying on X. Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen reports on X, "Openly gay out, openly Christian in." One social media user on X said, "Again, F Disney for removing that trans storyline from Win or Lose, but so far it's a great show." And from The Hollywood Reporter, their official report, Tiana Disney Plus series shelved as Walt Disney Animation abandons long-form streaming content. First announced in 2020, the Disney Plus show was envisioned as a musical featuring Annika Noni Rose, reprising her role as Tiana, Disney's first black princess from The Princess and the Frog. So if the people hired to put this show together for Disney were actually competent enough to put their show together, they would have gotten this released. This is the ultimate DEI end-of-the-road situation, where they say, okay, fine, we'll do your diverse project. No problem. Here's some money. They get the money. They start working on the project. But because they were hired without a consideration for whether or not they had the merit to actually do the show could not get made, physically could not get made. That's why it's important to hire for merit. Even if you have ideological goals, you put the goals in there somewhere, but you don't front load the system so much that they can't even make the show. Hollywood Reporter continues, sources close to the streaming series said that despite best efforts, including several changes to the creative team, Tiana ultimately could not get to where it needed to be given production costs. Still, The Princess and the Frog remains a key property for the company, as Tiana is one of Disney's canon princesses. Last year, the Splash Mountain attraction was revamped at both of Disney's US parks and transformed into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.